Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to carry on work on the 380 SL, and today we're going to put on the reinforcement brackets for the subframe connection for the lower control arm at the rear. Those of you familiar with the 107, the 450, the 560 SL were under recall for some problems with the lower control arm breaking from the subframe. Now, unfortunately, the 380 isn't subject to that recall, and apparently from Mercedes they said they weren't as vulnerable for it, but it can happen. A fracture in the lower control arm can happen, and obviously can be very dangerous. So to solve that, before I sell the car, I wanted to put the correct brackets on there and make sure it's all safe for the new owner. And so what I'm going to do today is show you what I'm going to do to reinforce it. Now, I did buy, here's two of them, two little brackets here. These came from, MB Classics in Germany, and they're special little brackets, 3mm thick steel, just to match the subframe steel, and they're configured to go on the subframe and then part of the bracket and then the curved circular section. So they do need a little bit of trimming. I've already put two on this side. Today I'm going to show you to put the others on, and then a little extra that I'm going to do as well. There's a little bit of a high spot, you'll see when I go under there, so it just needs a little grinding and a little bit of refining. And obviously, because it's a subframe, there's a lot of grease and oil and crap that gets underneath there. You've got to make sure that the metal that on the subframe is as clean as possible. Really go to town and make sure it's completely clean back to bare steel, otherwise you won't get a nice weld. Before I jump under there, please hit like, share, subscribe, and it does help the channel if people that view the channel subscribe. So if you like what you see, please hit subscribe. I appreciate that. And so let's dive under there and see what we got. Okay, we're under the passenger side, lower control arm. This is the part that is given the problem here and here, and so we want to reinforce this bracket before anything happens. And of course, 1983, so nothing's happened to this point, but I want it done. So this is that bracket reinforcement. It's going to go there. You can see there's a little bit of a high spot up here that I'm going to refine to get a nice tight fit. And you can see that there's a bent piece of steel here. It curves up slightly, and on the brackets supplied from MB Classic they copy that as well. See, it's kind of a 90 degree for added strength. And this is, as I say, 3mm steel, matches the subframe steel. And so the first job is to get all this surface really clean along here, and around this area here. Get it as clean as possible. And obviously there's a rubber seal here, so you've got to be very careful when you're welding that you stay away from that as best you can. It's gonna heat up, there's no doubt about it, so I have an air gun at hand to cool it, and just very fast welds around this section. And then on this side you've got to make sure you don't weld onto this washer here, this adjustment washer. So let's get this cleaned up, and I will refine this bracket so it fits nicely into this section. And then don't know that I'm going to be able to weld and film at the same time, but I will show you after I've welded it in. What I do is normally put a little tack here and there just to hold it. I have some magnets, and then the tacks hold it, remove the magnets, and then do a nice kind of bead weld. Okay, so let's get that cleaned up, and I bet you. Here's the bracket. See that black line there? That's how much I've got to take off to the right side there, because it's a bit high on that top. And then that little bit there is to accommodate the factory weld on the bracket, so it has a nice continual connection point. So this takes a little while of fiddling around, but you just got to make that fit as best as possible and then clean the surfaces up. So that's that. And I wanted to show you, see this white blanket here? This is a welding blanket. And what I've done, I've tucked it over the top side of the subframe and pulled it over. And so it does two things. Obviously protects the chance of getting close to any fuel lines or anything like that. So you completely, it's a spark resistant fireproof blanket essentially. And then on top of that, it provides a nice light reflection for my light under here, so you can see that you know, the sparks are not going anywhere. And also, for safety's sake, obviously the car's on axle stands, not just that thing that's there as a second backup, so I always use locking axle stands, so we're all safe and sound. So let's get under there and see how this fits. Okay, there we have it. Got it fitting pretty nicely there. A couple of little magnets. I get a little spot weld on so I can get them out of the way, and I've tried to keep it in line with the ones I've already done over there. If you can see those, keep it as straight as possible, and so it looks nice. So that's got a nice fit. So let me get that tack welded on now, and I will get back to you. All right, part way through here, you can see I put a little tack on the end here, still a little bit actually, a little tack here. And that's so I can clean those up and then run a nice straight bead just like that one, you know. So got nice straight beads, so I just tack at the end, get the magnets out of the way, and then we can finish welding that. Oh, I'm welding both sides, this side and the other side, on both, and yeah, it's going pretty good. Okay, there we are, all welded up. It went pretty well. Got a decent run on both sides, front and back. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut a template out to go across here to put another piece of steel, again 3mm thick, right across here, not too far this way because I don't want to interrupt the swing arm obviously, so I'll probably stop around here and go up to about here just to really lock all this together. Probably a bit overkill actually, but why not while we're under it? And I like welding, so there you go. But it's coming along well. And also another thing I didn't mention about safety stuff, along with this fireproof blanket here, I have obviously a fire extinguisher very close at hand just in case. So anyway, right, next thing up, I'm going to spray all this area with a zinc primer, okay? And this plate, I crafted this plate with a nice curve on it, so it has a kind of a nice look to it. So that will go there like so, and let me get under there. You can see the way it's curved nicely. That'll weld there, okay. And then what I'll do, because it'll be difficult to spray in there, I'm going to use my internal frame coating probe to bung in a bunch of frame coating here, and then spray this nicely and finish it off, degrease all this. Probably won't get to that today, but so that is what I'm doing. This might seem like a bit of a pole vault over a mouse turd, but I think it looks better with that on there. It kind of boxes everything in nicely and makes this whole thing one unit, so to speak. So let me get this painted up with zinc primer, and then I'll weld that on, and then I'll show you the finished product. Right, there you go. I welded that guy on. Got a nice curvature to it, so it looks kind of, you know, kind of in keeping, not just a square bit of metal welded on there. And so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to insert a frame coating probe inside here to get all these surfaces in here completely coated. And you know, probably not today, but I'm going to degrease all this rubbish and give this a little painting up, and then I've just got to do the other side, and then we're all good. So this is immensely strong now. It's kind of double the strength of it, really, isn't it? I mean, these original little tabs that come down here, they do look a little bit kind of weedy, I guess, but especially if we get any kind, if you get any seizure in this part, I would imagine, similar to the 108. I mean, these are sealed up obviously, but if you get some kind of seizure or problem here, put an immense amount of stress on this. So I'd imagine it's depending on the location you're at, you know, some probably suffer worse than others, but anyway. And you don't really have to worry about the other ones apparently, because this is a much more stronger area at the front. It's always the back section you got to worry about. But anyway, so let me coat that up. So there you have it. I've put some rust encapsulator paint on here, a couple of thin coats. I'll probably do some more. I cleaned this area with like acetone to get rid of any grease and stuff, so I just give it a couple of light coats of that, and so it looks pretty good. Got that nice curvature, give it a little bit more interest rather than just a square piece of metal. So I've just got to do the next one over there, fill in plate, and then we're all done for this. Well, that's another job complete, another one off the list. Yeah, it wasn't too hard really. You just got to make sure that the metal's clean. As I say, use 3mm plate. If you don't buy them from MB Classics, they run about $50, but try and order something else because the shipping's around $40. So I ordered a few seals and stuff for the 6.3 while it was coming. The Classic Center don't sell those brackets anymore, but with a little bit of ingenuity you can make up your own. They're just little triangular brackets, and you don't have to put the other plate on, I don't think, but I kind of liked it. Finished it off and boxed it in nicely, and then the internal frame coating probe goes in there and coats everything, and so it doesn't rust. So don't have to worry about that anymore. That's all a lot stronger now. What else? Yeah, don't forget, be very cautious welding underneath a car like that. I'd suggest you buy a welding blanket and tuck it in and tent yourself in there and keep well away from all the fuel lines, and then have a fire extinguisher on hand. Obvious stuff really. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that video and got something out of it. Please, like I say, hit like, share, subscribe, and that helps me build the audience, and hope you're enjoying the videos. Please comment below if you've got any other suggestions and any thoughts on what you saw today. So thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.